This boy attends an all-girls school, and thanks to his good looks, he quickly wins the favor of countless girls, including the most beautiful girl in the class. But he's shocked to find out that the girl he admires not only holds the title of the prettiest, but also has a second reputation as the top delinquent and school bully. It turns out he's a top fighter, and he's actually part of a secret government program. As for his real mission, that's to infiltrate schools and deal with dangerous delinquents like her. In a classroom filled with delinquents, a lone student is literally getting his ass handed to him. His legs tremble as he struggles to stay on his feet. Turns out, they're playing a twisted game, seeing who can make the boy puke first. It's also a punishment. He failed to meet their expectations, and they lost money betting on him. Without warning, one of the guys launches a furious punch. Then another. Finally, the blow that makes the boy lose his breakfast. Just as the bully begins celebrating, another student, the so-called referee, declares him the winner. But the torment isn't over yet. The bully, wearing an expression of disgust, demands the boy hand over his wallet. Groaning from the pain, the boy is shocked. But with veins pulsing on his forehead, the bully argues that the boy should take responsibility for losing their bet. As the boy reluctantly reaches for his wallet, the bully snatches it away. The kid mutters that's his lunch money weekly. This only fuels the bully's rage, and he stomps the boy's face into the mess on the floor. Repeatedly. Throwing tantrums with each stomp. The boy is reaching his breaking point, wondering why he has to suffer at the hands of these monsters. We know he can't do anything, until the classroom door suddenly bursts open. The bully turns, annoyed, shouting to know who dares interrupt their fun. A shadow looms over him, and then, he's hit with a massive kick, which sends blood flying. The bully crashes across the room. The once bullied kid stares in shock, disbelief frozen on his face. Standing tall is a blonde newcomer, flashing a wide grin. The other delinquents look on in utter disbelief. Well, let's just say Tanaka, the bully, won't be waking up anytime soon. Unbothered, the blonde guy casually pulls out his phone, annoyed. Sighing, all that and the idiot is only worth 1 point. The group erupts in rage, demanding to know who he is. At first, he offers nothing but a puzzled stare. Then, with a charming smile, he introduces himself as a new transfer student. Mouths fall open. Reality itself seems to glitch. One of the delinquents screams, calling him a bastard before hurling a chair at him. The new kid just stands there, puzzled, barely reacting. As it flies closer, he simply tilts his head and gives a mocking smile. Before the thrower can even blink, the blonde is behind him. Grinning, he smashes the guy's family jewels with no remorse. The fool's face says it all, pure agony. Shock and fear ripple through the crowd as the chaos escalates. The newcomer starts counting, thrilled by the points he's racking up. His eyes glow with malevolence, a satisfied smirk on his face. He growls, signaling it time for them to pay for their deeds. We're taken back. Someone calls out to Akihito, our protagonist, telling him it's time for school. Later, in a secret government meeting, officials discuss a controversial new project aimed at reducing juvenile crime. One man protests the absurdity of the idea, believing it was madness. Another agrees, wondering, what are the higher-ups even thinking? A calm woman briefs them. The plan is to send juvenile convicts into delinquent schools to solve internal conflicts in exchange for reduced sentences. They call it the Convict Transfer Student Program. Back with Akihito. He struggles to figure out how to use his phone camera. After a valiant effort with his 2 brain cells, he turns to the kid for help. The disheveled student, sweating nervously, realizes this Akihito guy is someone he needs to avoid. But since he helped, it's only fair to show him how to use the camera. Akihito happily invites him into the selfie, leaving no room for protest as he pulls him in. With a forced smile, the boy introduces himself as Yuki. Later, Akihito notices clips attached to Yuki's uniform. He asks about it. Yuki sighs, explaining it's a reward he got from losing the fight. He explains that a group of third years, particularly the Mineta brothers, forces weaker students to brawl for gambling money. Akihito lights up like a kid in a candy store, seeing it as a perfect opportunity to rack in money if he wins. Yuki looks horrified. Akihito checks his bounty app. Both of them have significant point bounties. Yuki is stunned to hear that every point removes 1 day from Akihito's sentence. From his expression, it is clear he has no idea what that meant. In response, Akihito grins, casually revealing he is actually a convict. Elsewhere, the group that got destroyed finally arrives, apologizing for being late. Mineta Ruji isn't having it. He smashes Suzuki, the guy who lost his jewels, with a metal bat. He growls at them for their tardiness and inspects their bruised faces. They stammer out the events of earlier. One of them slips up, claiming the transfer student is stronger than Ruji's brother. Wrong move. He gets a brutal reminder of his place, another swing of the bat. Ruji doesn't ask for more details. He just clenches his fists in rage, ordering them to bring the transfer student to him. We arrive at the fight venue, and our boy is caught off guard. 2 students stand at the center of a roaring crowd, everyone cheering and urging them to go harder. The fight ends with Ruji declaring the disheveled kid the winner. The boy's face goes pale as Ruji suddenly shifts his attention to him. His nose looks broken, and painfully so. Though Ruji says he just wants to fix it, it's clear the boy senses something more sinister. Uneasy, he braces himself. With a sickening crack, Ruji either adjusts or perhaps worsens the injury. He clearly enjoys the boy's pain. Even the crowd laughs as though it's the best joke they've ever seen. Not far away, our boy and Yuki watch it all unfold, seeing everything in 4K. To confirm it's really Ruji, he checks his app. But before leaving, he makes a bet. If he wins, Yuki owes him a burger. Then he walks off with a smile, leaving the boy utterly confused. Right on cue, Ruji begins announcing the next match, only to be interrupted by our boy. He boldly declares his intentions to fight. Ruji is surprised since he's never seen this guy before. That's when one of his lackeys shouts, identifying him as the newly transferred student. Despite their serious looks, our boy just flashes a peace sign like he's here to make friends. Ruji shows anger, though inwardly, he's pleased because he just saved him the trouble of seeking him out. So, deciding to deal with him, he agrees to the fight. It's almost funny how all Ruji's lackeys shrink back when it's time to choose an opponent. But our boy makes it easy. He challenges Mineta Ruji directly. Ruji is clearly irritated. He didn't expect that. The crowd erupts in laughter, thinking our boy has a death wish. Yuki, watching from the side, looks like his mind might collapse at any moment. Ruji tries to intimidate our boy, expressing how strong he is and questioning if he still wants to go through with it. Our boy simply replies with a jab, saying it won't change the outcome. That definitely touches a nerve. Ruji places a bucket in the center of the ring and loudly declares, "No rules. This is a death match. Everyone is welcome to place bets." Judging by their faces, it's obvious who the crowd is betting on. Ruji is confident. He believes our boy won't leave alive. Yet despite the tension, our boy responds with a calm, serious smirk. Ruji, now with brass knuckles on, taunts him, referencing the collar around his neck and threatening to make him his pet. Our boy is taken aback by the brass knuckles, but it's too late now. The fight begins. Mineta Ruji strikes first. Our boy dodges, barely, as if by pure accident. Some spectators are already calling it. They think it's over. Our boy didn't know weapons would be used. But no one said they were banned either. It's a death match, Ruji reminds him, and lands a crushing blow to his torso. Blood sprays from our boy's mouth. And just like that, he finds himself at a great disadvantage. Watching this, the crowd cheers wildly, taunting him to stop running and fight seriously. Hearing this, Ruji starts playing dirty, flinging dirt into our boy's face, and lands another blow that draws more blood. Just as the crowd roars in approval, Yuki, on the other hand, looks on with concern, feeling the match is already decided. Back in the ring, he grins and questions whether our boy really thinks he could defy him without facing consequences. He plans to savor every moment before killing him. But then, our boy slams a brick into Ruji's face. No one saw that coming. A second strike follows, this time even harder. The crowd is stunned. Mouths hang open. He screams in agony. But our boy gives a sinister smile. Let's just say things just got a lot more interesting. Ruji, now regaining some awareness, asked what he was planning. With a wide grin, our boy reminds him of his own words, saying it's a death match. There's something unnerving about the way he does it, grinning like a child. The crowd is frozen, equal parts stunned and terrified. Our boy continues to slam the brick against Ruji's head, again and again. Ruji's face swells grotesquely. He finally admits defeat and surrenders. Silence fell, no one expected it. But our boy isn't done. He sticks out his tongue, reminding Ruji once again, noting it's a death match, meaning his only way out is through a casket. Ruji's lackeys are frozen in fear. And just like that, the beating continues. Each punch is harder than the last. Finally, someone rushes in and pulls our boy off Ruji before he can finish him off. Yuki watches in horror, his face pale, silently begging for our boy to stop. But in that moment, our boy seems possessed, like his only purpose is to destroy. Now shaking, he screams at the top of his lungs. Our boy, still gripping the brick, chooses to restrain his killing intent. His gaze shifts to the group of clowns nearby, who clearly wish to be anywhere else. His tone changes as he wonders aloud if this actually counts as a win, while his foot rests atop Minato Ruji's body. After confirming the outcome, he walks toward Yuki to declare his victory. Yuki's face strains of color the moment an arm wraps casually around him. The sudden shift in attitude sparks curiosity. Perhaps the boy isn't just a criminal, but someone with a split personality. With a tug, the boy reminds Yuki of the promised post-fight treat. Yet Yuki remains visibly uneasy. Not because of the forced meal, but because someone far worse than Minato Ruji has arrived. The newcomer strolls onto the scene, hands in his pockets, like a Chad. A lackey rushes ahead to explain what has happened. He's promptly kicked into the air, crashing to the ground, coughing blood, clearly not worth the elder brother's time. As the group watches in stunned silence, the elder brother steps in. Towering over his brother, he came to do two things. First, to stare at his brother's pitiful state, and second, to deliver a brutal stomp to Ruji's face while talk about tough love. No one dares to breathe too loudly. Family matters are best avoided. Ruji clicks his tongue, muttering something about his brother being a loser, and claims the beatdown was deserved. Well, at the very least he paid attention. Now, the elder brother directs his attention toward the boys. With a flick, cash is tossed high into the air, commanding them to track him down. The tension shifts instantly. Indeed, money always changes things, and it only doesn't if you don't have enough. While chaos brews behind the scenes, our boy is happily nestled inside a burger cafe, eyes glowing at the menu. Yuki, still processing everything, struggles to match the carefree energy. The waitress prompts them to order. A hand shoots up like a kid. Our boy wants to try everything. Yuki breaks into a nervous sweat, insisting that's way too much. Ignoring him, orders are placed, 2 cheeseburger sets, and the ones that come with a smile. The waitress responds with a polite grin. Our boy, operating on limited brain power, thinks her smile is literally part of the order, making things awkward. Eventually, they take their seats, and he dives into his food with gleeful abandon. Yuki watches quietly, thinking, from the way the boy devours the burger, it might be his first time. Hard to reconcile how someone who nearly killed Ruji could get this excited over fries. Something about him just isn't normal. As the meal continues, Yuki grows uneasy. Curiosity wins as the question slips out about whether our boy is actually a criminal. The response is a wordless nod. Another question follows, wondering why a criminal is at school instead of in prison. Apparently, everything was arranged by the big shots. Taking down delinquents reduces his sentence. Yuki struggles to keep a straight face. The explanation sounds completely ridiculous. When asked about the length of the sentence, our boy flashes 5 fingers. suggesting 5 years or 50. But no, he casually announces a 500-year sentence. Now, Japan's legal system doesn't even sentence minors to that much time. So the question hangs, what did our boy do to deserve such a sentence? But he's already back to his burger, pouring cola on the fries like it's a master creation. The answer will have to wait. Especially because something far worse is coming. The glass shatters, customers panic and scatter. A boy in a red hoodie steps through the wreckage. Yuki recognizes him instantly. He is one of Ruji's brother's lackeys. He starts losing his composure while the boy is still focused on the burger. The lackey glares. He knows exactly who put his boss's brother in the hospital. Yuki whispers that escape might be wise, doubting our boy can handle 3 attackers. Before the warning is complete, a blow with steel pipes silences him. The gang makes it clear, their quarrel is only with our boy. So Yuki is told to leave and mind his business. But our boy's eyes are locked on the burger that seems to be ruined. Enraged, the guy stomps the food. Our boy expresses horror that his masterpiece is completely ruined. The fool throws a jab, calling the burger a piece of crap, thinking he saved our boy from stomach issues. The statement definitely touches a nerve. Switching to instant kill, our boy gives the guy a warning. If he doesn't lift his foot, there'll be consequences. Obviously, the guy feels irritated, thinking our boy is still just playing around. So our boy sends him straight to the hospital, making it crystal clear he's not joking around. Both his companions and Yuki are stunned by his precise strike. To vent his frustration, he pummels the fool without holding back. He then deals with the rest of them while expressing his irritation at people who waste food. Looks like we've found Sanji's counterpart. Yuki is amazed at how our boy wiped the floor with all 3 like it was nothing. Now holding what's left of his culinary creation, our boy finds the perfect way to make sure it doesn't go to waste. He shovels it directly into the mouths of the guys who ruined it. And just to rub it in, he makes them pay for the meal. Clearly, this was the worst day ever for them. Not only did they get beaten, but they had to pay for food they didn't order. Regardless, our boy approaches the horrified waitress and places another order for a cheeseburger, this time, with an even bigger smile. The lady is so terrified, she's on the verge of tears. But our boy keeps smiling radiantly, showing absolutely zero concern. Later, he lets out a burp and expresses his thanks. But Yuki thinks it should be directed to Mineta Ryugo's lackey who ended up paying the bill. Just as Yuki begins to wonder how bizarre this guy really is, an exhausted woman stops them. Our boy smiles and greets her by name, Fuyumi. Yuki becomes flustered, assuming she's his sister. However, the sight of handcuffs quickly clears things up, making our boy pout in defeat. With no room for protest, he's dragged away, as Fuyumi insists they'll have a serious conversation when they get home. Before leaving, our boy insists they hang out some other time. Yuki waves goodbye, still struggling to process what just happened. The scene shifts to night. Yuki replays the day's events in his mind. He can't help but chuckle. It's ironic how he, a bullied kid, finally had fun. Lost in thought, he accidentally bumps into someone at the corner. He apologizes, and the stranger reaches out to help him up. Only for Yuki to realize, it's Mineta Ruji's brother. Wearing a knowing grin, he says nothing. He's been waiting for Yuki for a while. In a lit apartment, night had settled in. Inside, the boy sat with cutlery in hand, anticipation dancing in his eyes. Dinner, however, remained absent. Across the room stood Fuyumi, calm yet commanding, gently denying him his meal. Before he could utter a protest, she clarified, the decision tied directly to his broken rules. Confused, he protested his innocence, claiming a day full of hard work and absolutely no bad deeds. But her voice cut through, silencing further excuses. The destruction at the burger shop. The unauthorized outing. The chaos he'd left behind. A pout formed on his face, annoyed that the punishment was something as dire as missing dinner. Hoping to switch tracks, he pointed to his dog collar, asking if it could finally be removed. Fuyumi didn't even blink. Not only was the answer no, it was revealed the collar would explode. It wasn't just for control, but also for tracking. Move more than 30 meters out of range and it explodes. Now more anxious than before, he quickly switched topics again, this time to Yuki. Fuyumi immediately understood. Her tone shifted. She asked if money was being extorted from his new friend. Lack of a clear answer led to an additional blow, no breakfast tomorrow either. Collapsing dramatically, he wished she would just kill him and be over it, leaving Fuyumi speechless. Her face soon turned serious. She explained the true reason behind the transfer criminal project. Originally, the higher-ups wanted to send juvenile convicts to troubled schools for a trade-off, help fix student problems, and reduce their sentences. On paper, that was the mission. But in reality, it was also a rare opportunity for people like him to experience normal school life. He yawned, already knowing most of what she was saying. But the mood turned heavy again. Eyes closed, she reminded him of the place he'd once come from. A hellish place. One that could still take him back. No one knew how he'd earned such a staggering sentence, but the reminder alone wiped the mischief from his face. Sensing the moment, Fuyumi struck with a deal. A pinky swear. If he did well tomorrow, hamburger steak would be on the table. His eyes lit up like a kid in a candy shop. Burgers were already gold to him. Hamburger steak, now that's heaven. The deal was sealed. Fuyumi felt a strange warmth rise within her. Morning came fast. Delinquents had gathered, waiting for someone. That someone was already humming and skipping, daydreaming about hamburger steak. The moment halted. He stood face to face with Mineta Ruji's brother, Ryugo. He struck up a conversation, recognizing the rumored transfer student. A question followed in return, an inquiry about his identity. After a brief introduction and an acknowledgement of what had happened to Ruji, our boy's sleeves were rolled as the prospect of a fight was about to begin. But here's the twist, he wasn't his opponent. Instead, the ones fighting stood behind Ryugo, a group of weak students, including his friend. Confused, our boy asked what his friend was doing there. Yuki said nothing, clearly frightened to the core. Our boy's expression shifted. He questioned Yuki's intentions. Yuki trembled, guilt threatening to consume him. 12 hours earlier, at a bridge. Students clung to its edges, barely hanging on. Yuki among them. Ryugo, standing above, offering help. On one condition, to kill our boy. One student objected, calling it a death wish. A stomp to the fingers followed. The boy fell. His fate remains unknown. Back to the present, Yuki internally apologized, but fear kept him quiet. Ryugo raised a hand like a referee, signaling the match to begin. They all charged. The first hit landed on Yuki. One punch instantly knocking him out. He sailed across the field like a ragdoll. The others were dispatched just as easily. In record time, with no sweat. Ryugo stepped forward, asking if Yuki wasn't a friend. Fixing his hair, our boy responded with a wide grin, denying he'd ever heard of him. Yuki, bruised and battered, was horrified. Tears formed as he shouted about their shared burgers and betrayal. Our boy grew quiet, then responded with a question, asking why Yuki threw the first punch. Silence followed this. Another question followed. If hitting a friend is considered betrayal, then hadn't Yuki already betrayed him? That shut everything down. Applause sliced through the tension. Ryugo laughed. Originally, the plan was to end the boy. But after seeing the way he handled things, he grew interested in him. He wanted the boy to join him. The offer was extravagant: food, money, girls. Whatever he desired. Temptation flared at the mention of food, but quickly faded. Once again, he refused to join. Ryugo was baffled, listening to this, and planned to sweeten the deal. Only to be interrupted by a single raised finger recalling the promise to Fuyumi. Now both Ryugo and Yuki were confused, not understanding what the boy was babbling about. Excitement surged as our boy issued a challenge directly to Ryugo. Anger flickered on his face. However, rules were rules. In the school, all disagreements were settled with fighting. The chapter opens inside the ring, where two figures face off while the crowd gathers, placing their bets with eager anticipation. Before the first blow is thrown, Ryugo lays down the rules. Victory comes only when one fighter surrenders or admits defeat. A flicker of surprise crosses our boy's face. This isn't a fight to the death, unlike the brutal encounters of the past. Ryugo casts a mocking glance as if questioning our boy's intelligence, wondering if he can make our boy his subordinate if that happens. At least Ryugo recognizes raw potential. Tension builds with a charged standoff. As soon as the signal to start is given, our boy charges forward, not directly at Ryugo, but veering off mischievously toward a brick nearby. The crowd erupts in rage, hurling insults and accusing both of cowardice. But our boy remains focused. He's in the midst of delivering a crushing blow when Ryugo suddenly dodges with practiced ease and counters with a clean strike to the face. His followers cheer with delight as their leader delivers a punishing reminder of who's in control. Our boy never really stands a chance. Ryugo is, after all, a reigning junior boxing champion. Confidence radiates as Ryugo settles into a sharp, calculated stance. Our boy isn't shaken. If anything, there's a flicker of excitement behind his eyes. Ryugo closes the distance with impressive speed. The first punch is expertly dodged, and the boy manages to stay on his feet through a relentless barrage. Still, another hit connects with his face. Grimacing, the boy clutches his stomach as another blow sinks into his gut. Yuki watches in stunned silence, concern washing over his face. The crowd continues to cheer Ryugo as the boy drops to one knee. Ryugo taunts him now, daring him to show more, to live up to the expectations. But the boy has already spotted an opening. Without hesitation, he changes tactics, going for the legs, a known weakness in boxers. Ryugo stumbles in surprise. The crowd is equally stunned, unsure of what they're seeing. But just as quickly, Ryugo recovers, pinning the boy to the ground. Confusion flares up. He doesn't understand why he can't move. Ryugo acknowledges our boy's insight but clarifies with a smirk, this isn't just a fight inside the ring. Real experience goes beyond technique. That's why he pins his opponent down. A sly smile escapes our boy as he chuckles quietly. Ryugo has misunderstood. His actual target was defeat. Gasps ripple through the onlookers. Ryugo can't react in time. But pain flashes through our boy's hand instead. No one understands what's gone wrong, until Ryugo grins, smugly pointing out that fists are no match for steel. His shoes, rigged with metal reinforcements, have turned the tables. What follows needs little narration. Our boy takes a vicious beating, barely holding on. Ryugo might have kept the taunts going, basking in dominance. But our boy's comeback halts the mocking tone. He challenges Ryugo's so-called strength, pointing out the cowardice in wearing rigged gear and pretending it's the norm among delinquents. A nerve is struck. Rage contorts Ryugo's face. Unshaken, our boy begins shadowboxing, counting under his breath. A flicker of confusion crosses Ryugo's face, until realization dawns. These aren't random punches. The boy has memorized the rhythm. With every blow endured, he's been learning. And now, the real fight begins. Ryugo flashes a satisfied grin, since things are starting to get interesting. Our boy lunges with light, swift motion, unleashing a flurry of strikes. Ryugo evades them effortlessly. Calmly, he points out every error, catching our boy off guard. Without pause, he demonstrates by locking the shoulder, elbows tucked in, stepping in firmly, and swinging at lightning speed. Our boy narrowly dodges the incoming blow, commenting on the close call, only to realize it is a feint. Taking advantage, Ryugo twists his lower body and drives a true strike directly into our boy's gut. That, he reveals, is merely the foundation of a 1-2 combo. Wobbling, our boy begins to bleed, clearly in critical condition. His attacks weaken. The crowd of clowns mocks him mercilessly, calling it an amateur exposé. Out of nowhere, Ryugo launches a counterpunch that earns cheers for its flawless execution. Our boy lies motionless, bleeding heavily. Ryugo demands he admit defeat, believing the battle is decided. But something changes. Our boy's expression twists into something sinister. A wild smile emerges, a glint of red in his eyes, followed by a low, menacing laugh. Pale and shaken, Ryugo charges forward, aiming a powerful punch. To the astonishment of all watching, our boy raises his arm just in time, blocking the attack. Panic stirs among the mocking crowd. Again, our boy assumes a boxing stance, yet something is different. Confidence radiates from him. With a single dash, he closes the distance and pushes Ryugo onto the defensive. No matter how Ryugo blocks or dodges, he cannot escape. Our boy breaks through his guard, leaving him completely exposed. Fear flickers across Ryugo's face and those of his followers. Our boy smirks, readying a devastating strike. Ryugo loses his footing with a single hit, collapsing as our boy stands tall, grinning. But the fight isn't over. Ryugo, bewildered by our boy's sudden evolution, demands to know his identity. Calmly, our boy reveals he is a criminal transfer student. The revelation stuns the crowd. Some look confused, others murmur, unsure if it is truth. Still, Ryugo calls him an outsider, questioning what right he has to interfere in their school. Our boy grabs Ryugo by the hair, calling out the irony. Ryugo initiated the fight, dragging normal students into conflict. These students who only wish for a peaceful school life. So, Ryugo has forfeited any right to judge. Our boy's mission is clear: deliver justice to people like him. Ryugo snaps, declaring our boy has gone too far, not being friend or family to those involved. He demands to know the true purpose. With unwavering resolve, our boy declared a single desire: to be free. Yuki, watching, finds himself stunned, seeing our boy in a new light. With gears shifted, the fight resumes. Our boy is ready to finish the fight by unleashing a hypergrade punch. They both surge forward, exchanging a flurry of strikes. Amid the exchange, our boy began to falter. Ryugo seized the moment, landing a solid blow. Victory seemed assured. But our boy blocked, with his head. Before Ryugo can react, he is struck squarely across the face. Blood sprays from his mouth as shock overtakes him. An opening appears. Ryugo flinches, expecting a follow-up punch. Instead, a sharp heel kick crashes into him, accompanied by a mischievous grin. And just like that, Ryugo fell for the second and final time. No sign of him rising again. The crowd stares in disbelief, while our boy stood over him, that wide, satisfied grin still stretching across his face. The scene transitions to the confidential government facility, inside a secure meeting room. Fuyumi wraps up her report. The entire group is astonished. He completes the mission in just 2 days. Although some damage is sustained along the way, one of the members voices concern, wishing Fuyumi had handled things with a bit more caution before she's permitted to leave. Another member expresses dissatisfaction with the project, openly stating a lack of support. Curiosity surfaces as he questions the methods Fuyumi uses to manage the subject. The setting then shifts to her home. He's already at the door, flashing a radiant smile. He gestures toward a news broadcast on screen. Mineta brothers have been neutralized. Seeing how cheerful he looks, Fuyumi compliments the mission's success. With a leap, he lands on the couch. Not only does he earn points, but he also reconciles with Yuki, who rewards him with a burger. Being a burger enthusiast, he laughs with delight. There's definitely a soft spot for him somewhere in her expression. Thanks to the payout from his victory against Ryugo, he now has the means to indulge in delicious meals. Fuyumi, now visibly confused, confesses no prior knowledge of this. Once she understands, she firmly insists the money be confiscated. When asked why, she explains that gambling, especially while under criminal supervision, is a violation of protocol. More concerning is the casual tone he uses to describe himself as a criminal, something she clearly dislikes. Steering the conversation elsewhere, she acknowledges he performs admirably on his first mission. Though the road ahead is long, he appears confident in his ability to accumulate enough points to shorten the sentence. Still, she warns against overconfidence. Not every school will be as easy as the last. Sensing a lack of understanding, she places a hand on his shoulder. Earning points is important, she explains, but the greater goal lies in helping those in need. If someone is in trouble, stepping up should come without hesitation. With a nod and a bright expression, he affirms the message loud and clear. The day wraps up, and he turns in for the night, ready for the next assignment. Morning comes in a flash. Channeling big sister energy, Fuyumi reminds him to behave in school before launching into a lecture. With a grin, he dashes off, waving as she's left mildly annoyed. Out in the bustling city, he struggles with the GPS, scrolling through the phone while navigating unfamiliar streets. Then a scene unfolds. A burly man appears to be pestering a schoolgirl. From the looks of it, something feels off. After a brief hesitation, he steps in, echoing Fuyumi's earlier advice. The man, wearing a smug grin, challenges him with a sneer, accusing him of looking for trouble. Talking too much gets you slapped. Indeed, he responds with a swift lightning kick, not even engaging with the man's taunts. Offended, the man balls his fists and lunges forward, but it's no use. A quick dodge, seamless footwork, and the techniques learned from Ryugo make it an easy win. The man drops out cold. There's a moment of celebration. Clearly, those boxing lessons have paid off. Then comes the real surprise. The girl approaches, cheeks flushed. Her appearance practically melts the air between them. With a shy smile and an audible thank you, she leaves him speechless. Blushing hard, he scratches his head, claiming it was only natural to help someone in need. Before he knows it, she's handed over her contact info, no effort needed. Her name is Kasumi, and she promises to reach out later. He stands there, wide-eyed in disbelief. Snapping out of it, he heads to school. Inside the classroom, students chat energetically until the homeroom teacher calls for silence. A new student is introduced. It's him. Timidly stepping forward, he stammers through the introduction. Well, the room is entirely female. That explains the red face and awkward shuffle. Whispers and admiring glances fly through the air. Remarks about good looks and that mysterious collar only make him more uncomfortable. Suddenly, his eyes lock with someone familiar, Kasumi, seated at the far end of the room. Both freeze in surprise. As the recognition sinks in, she starts daydreaming, wondering if destiny has just played its hand. After Kasumi's unexpected reaction, a curious classmate wonders if the two are already acquainted. Kasumi explains the events that transpired before she arrived at school. Her tale stirs excitement among the girls. Such dramatic scenes are usually confined to the pages of a shoujo manga. The teacher claps, attempting to settle the growing commotion, and announces that the new boy will be joining their class. Following instructions, he makes his way to the vacant seat. With a charming smile, he casts a glance at the girl beside him. She responds with a brief tilt of her head but quickly resumes her cold demeanor, clearly ignoring him. Puzzled, he begins to wonder if he has done something wrong, yet opts to remain composed despite the awkward tension. Time passes slowly. When lunchtime finally arrives, he feels drained and wishes he could escape the remainder of the day. Just then, a familiar figure approaches, Kasumi. Beaming, she suggests they eat together. Though caught off guard, he agrees. Without hesitation, she grabs his hand and pulls him toward her desk, leaving him visibly dazed. As they sit down, Kasumi curiously asks about the person who prepared his lunch. He mentions Fuyumi, describing her as an older sister type. The conversation turns playful when Kasumi asks if he has a girlfriend. Observing his reaction, she assumes the answer and secretly finds relief. It isn't surprising that someone like him, fond of burgers and fighting, doesn't pick up on subtle hints. As their exchange continues, Kasumi introduces herself formally as the class representative, prompting a surge of respect from him. Observing the dynamic, her two friends join in, asking why a boy has enrolled in an all-girls school. With a sincere expression, he explains his mission, to solve the school's internal problems. The girls are confused, finding it odd that someone would join just to confront delinquents. Still on the subject, he turns to Kasumi to ask if anything unusual has occurred. She responds with a firm no and returns the question. He admits to finding nothing out of the ordinary. Hearing this, she insists that he focus on living a normal school life. Since he doesn't understand what that entails, she takes it upon herself to explain. Studying, joining clubs, and especially, finding love. Noticing a smudge of ketchup on his cheek, she reaches out and wipes it away. He thanks her, addressing her politely using her surname. To his surprise, she insists on being called by her first name, leaving him completely flustered. Her friends, watching from nearby, find the moment adorable. Across the room, another girl observes the interaction. Something about her expression makes it clear that all is not well. Later that day, the boy wanders down the hallway, reflecting on how peaceful the school seems. He begins to wonder if Fuyumi has sent him to the wrong place entirely. Just then, Kasumi appears and grabs his arm with childlike insistence, refusing to let go. He freezes, suddenly aware that her chest is pressed against him. Flustered, she suggests they walk home together. During their walk, she is surprised to learn about his previous job and eagerly remarks on her admiration for strong individuals. Only then does it click, Kasumi actually likes him. The realization makes him feel unexpectedly proud. The scene shifts to his return home. Fuyumi greets him warmly, but he collapses onto the couch, lost in thought. When she inquires about his mission, he barely listens, still caught up in the day's events. Annoyed, Fuyumi questions whether she is being ignored. He responds that the school is peaceful and admits his desire to stop being the so-called criminal transfer student. This unexpected declaration stuns Fuyumi. He repeats his wish to abandon his role and embrace an ordinary school life with Kasumi. Fuyumi doesn't understand. She reminds him that he was chosen under special conditions, and she couldn't accept a withdrawal. Silence falls before he suddenly demands an explanation for why a normal life isn't possible. Taken aback by his outburst, she reminds him of his past and the consequences. Withdrawal from the project would mean a return to solitary confinement. He reflects quietly before apologizing and agreeing to continue, despite longing deeply for a peaceful life. Back at school, he again reflects on how serene things have been. Even after some time has passed, nothing seems off. Until that moment, swinging open a classroom door, he is stunned by the sight before him. The girl who sat beside him is receiving a makeover, and leading the charge, wearing a radiant smile, is none other than Kasumi. Kasumi freezes upon seeing our boy standing at the door. In an instant, her demeanor shifts, explaining that she has only been helping Midoko trim her hair. Our boy questions the reasoning behind it. Kasumi responds that the idea came from Midoko, adding that the haircut is simply a trendy style. She then turns toward Midoko with an intimidating aura, urging her to confirm the story. Terrified, Midoko nods and agrees in a trembling tone. From the sidelines, our boy remains clueless. For a fleeting moment, it all seems like bullying. Laughter erupts from the girls, cackling like witches and noting that our boy is truly amusing. Midoko, meanwhile, sinks deeper into despair. The following day, our boy and Midoko are assigned to classroom duty. Though he grumbles about the hassle, they proceed with sweeping. While working, he occasionally glances her way, noticing her expression, both sorrowful and frightened. The silence between them grows thick with discomfort. Attempting to break the tension, he remarks on the wig she is wearing. Her silence puzzles him, prompting a hesitant question about whether he is being ignored. Midoko begins to wonder if she is being mocked. Our boy appears bewildered, unsure of what has gone wrong. Recalling Fuyumi's reaction, he thinks how girls often appreciate compliments about their appearance, especially their hair. He tries again. He compliments her haircut, encouraging her not to hide it. But instead of softening, Midoko snaps with frustration. He can't understand the reason for her anger. She accuses him of being out of touch, claiming he likes people like Kasumi. When pressed for clarity, she snaps again, this time revealing that everyone has been suffering because of Kasumi. Our boy protests, refusing to believe it without proof, insisting Kasumi is kind. His confidence is shaken when Midoko shows him her so-called trendy haircut. Noting his confusion, she claims it is all Kasumi's doing. Still, he holds firm, believing Kasumi could never do something so cruel. That kind of talk, however, earns him a slap. With fury and disbelief, Midoko questions how much he truly knows, pointing out that he has known Kasumi for only a few days. There is no reason to act like her savior. Stunned and quiet, he can only process the tension building between them. Then the door suddenly opens. Kasumi stands there, and Madoko's face strains of color. Sweat beads at her brow. Surprisingly, our boy informs Kasumi that Madoko has slapped him. Without hesitation, Kasumi demands an apology. Trembling, Madoko bows her head and offers it. Afterward, the two leave school together, intensifying Madoko's anxiety and distress. During their walk home, our boy feels a surge of excitement. Eventually, his thoughts slip out, mentioning how nice it would be to always be together. Kasumi is momentarily stunned by the remark. Realizing what has just been said, he panics inside. To his surprise, she plays along and suggests they become a couple. To an outside observer unaware of her intentions, it might have seemed like he has just scored a goal. She even invites him to meet in an empty classroom the following day. Still oblivious, he agrees, sealing their promise with a pinky swear. He waves goodbye, intending to head home quickly. But then she takes a bold step. On tiptoe, she leans in and kisses him on the cheek. Before running off, she reminds him of the promise. Our boy stands frozen, overwhelmed and embarrassed, already imagining future baby names. Elsewhere, the scene shifts. Kasumi walks alone along the pavement. Suddenly, the same man from before appears before her. Wearing a serious expression, he steps forward. Moments later, his posture relaxes as he offers a respectful greeting. He isn't alone. Several men in black suits form a line behind him. Judging by their appearance, it is clear they are involved in something far from ordinary. With a quiet but commanding energy, they welcome her, addressing her as young lady. And so, the chapter comes to a close. The next day arrives quickly. Our boy paces back and forth, thinking about Kasumi. He is already planning their wedding and honeymoon in his head. Suddenly the door swings open. Excited that Kasumi has finally arrived, he rushes over, only to find Madoko standing there. He asks why she came and explains that he is waiting for Kasumi, but Madoko ignores him, deep in thought. Annoyed, he assumes she's here to slap him. Then Madoko unexpectedly confesses her feelings. While he is still processing what is happening, she slowly begins to remove her clothes. Embarrassed, Madoko asks what he thinks of her body, and he immediately gets a nosebleed. Before they know it, both end up on the table, her face flushed with embarrassment and hesitation. He feels her soft curves but manages to snap out of the temptation, loudly declaring that he wants it to be Kasumi instead. Pulling Madoko aside, he apologizes, saying he cannot betray Kasumi. Madoko shows no visible reaction. The moment he opens the door to leave the awkward scene, Kasumi appears with several other girls, puzzling him. Panicking, he tries to explain how Madoko began taking off her clothes and how he accidentally touched her chest, insisting he had no ill intentions. Kasumi laughs arrogantly. Her expression turns dark as she realizes her plan has been ruined. She approaches him without concern. Apparently, she had planned to film a sexual harassment video to destroy him. He insists she stop smoking and acting like a lunatic. Annoyed, she grabs him by the shirt and tells him he knows nothing about her. He admits it and says he still hoped they could be together. The entire group bursts into laughter, finding the idea disgusting. Kasumi's tantrum escalates. She burns him with her cigarette and laughs at his naivety. Most people would give up, but our boy still tries to work things out, which only irritates her more. She smashes her smartphone into his face. Seeing his blood on her shoe pushes her irritation to the limit, and she turns on Madoko. Horrified, Madoko is ordered to lick the shoe. With tears streaming down her face, she obeys while the group howls with laughter. Kasumi then tells our boy to shave Madoko's head. If he does, she might keep him as a pet. She removes Madoko's wig, believing the girl will look cuter that way. At last, our boy reflects on everything and understands what Madoko had tried to tell him earlier. He asks Kasumi if everything was just an act. With a mocking grin, she says it should have been obvious. He was just a sucker. He says nothing, simply taking the clippers from her hand. Kasumi smirks, thinking she still controls the situation. As the girls urge him to finish the job, he suddenly gives Kasumi a surprise haircut instead. Everyone stands awestruck. Kasumi is stunned. Good luck to her fixing that at a salon. Our boy teasingly says the style looks good on her. It's trendy, after all.